Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. The sun is shining, and we have another Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month spotlight today. Miss Joie Ha. Hi, Joy.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your Saturday. You're a very busy lady, so I was very lucky to get you today. So before we start, I always like to begin with a mini bio, but this is not so mini, so I will share all of this. So you're currently the vice chair of the Denver Asian American Pacific Islander Commission. You are also a partner specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and you work with community leaders and organizations like myself with the DPS AAC, specifically in the hard-to-count population of Asian Pacific Islander Americans. You have your bachelor's in anthropology from DU and your master's in development practice from Regis, with a focus on holistic methods of treating mental health for the Vietnamese refugee community in Denver. You completed some development work in Malaysia as a community development officer in Kampung Sungai Solo, and Cambodia as a researcher regarding how hip hop can create fictive kin for youth enticed by the familial aspects of gangs. Whew, that's a mouthful. You can share more of that. Finally, you have strong backgrounds in database management and event planning, and you're continually looking for ways to further serve your community. Welcome, Miss Joy, superstar. Tell you what, let's start with the most current thing right now, which is your work with the 2020.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Didn't mean for my bio to be so long.
It's okay. And we had a little delay there. So we're having some internet. I always say we can send somebody to the moon, but for some reason we can't get internet working seamlessly.
Right.
So can you share with us some of the work that you're doing with the 2020 census and how you got involved in that?
Sure. So I was actually doing outreach to the Asian American Pacific Islander community as a whole regarding the census, but sort of in my own time. And I got in touch with some of the folks that were working at the Bureau, and they ended up having an open position, and I applied for it right away. So I was really lucky that I could continue to do what I was already doing, but I'm getting paid to do it. So a lot of my outreach is with Asian American Pacific Islanders because in a survey done in 2018, it was found that we are the least likely ethnic group about the census.
Yes, that was one of the topics that really motivated our community. I had Win on a Facebook spotlight several days ago, but we got some new exciting news, some data that was shared with us. Would you like to share that new, just an update of some of the numbers that have been coming in?
Sure. So nationally, Asian Americans are actually filling out the census at pretty good amounts. We're about par with Caucasian Americans. So that's some pretty good news. In that sense, I think we are around 60%. However, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders are not filling it out as much. I think they're around 40%. So there's some data about right now what's going on.
So we definitely need to continue to encourage people in our community, ask everybody, put it on your social media. You know, it's really simple to fill out your census online and it's confidential. I think that's important for people to know. In addition to your census work, which is really important, I'm really curious to learn more about your anthropology degree. Tell me more about what you learned in school.
Sure. So my focus was cultural anthropology and really the study of human cultures, of basically what people find important, values and traditions and things of the sort. So um, what I focused on for my sort of senior thesis was hip hop and how it could sort of serve as a tool of empowerment. And I was lucky because I got a research grant to be able to go to Phnom Penh in Cambodia to work with a nonprofit there called Tiny Tunes and sort of see what they do and how well it works. So yeah, it was really fun. The nonprofit was focused on teaching things like dancing, like break dancing, teaching things like DJing, emceeing, but they also paired it with things like English, Khmer, HIV/AIDS prevention classes, and things like that.
Yeah, so if you get a degree in anthropology, it doesn't always mean you're going to be like Indiana Jones and go dig up dinosaur bones. There's a cultural
No.
um,
Right. And archaeology, where we dig up artifacts, is also part of anthropology. And that's definitely a really interesting field in itself, but it's not as exciting as Indiana Jones makes it out to be. Most of the time, you really are just digging up pot shards and dating them and seeing what people use the pot for.
So I was talking to Courtney Ozaki because she does taiko drumming, and she also has this love for hip hop. So what is this new? It's not new, I'm sure, but this obsession with fusing hip hop with other cultures, with especially amongst the Asian community.
Mhm. I think in terms of hip hop, you have to sort of go back to the roots in the Bronx and what it really meant for the people there and how it served as a way of people to have a voice and basically say that we exist and we're here. And really, in a way, when the government had sort of forgotten or forsaken that piece of land there, they were able to empower themselves and create something for themselves, which was definitely really just reading it and understanding that really empowering for me to know about. And I think because of that, hip hop really does relate to a lot of folks from backgrounds where they might be marginalized or oppressed. And so specifically for some of the kids in Phnom Penh, they might have come from a tougher background, and hip hop has a way of sort of speaking to those kids because I mean it's from the streets, right? And it talks about struggle, and if anything, I think also for people here in America, immigrant kids also can relate to that struggle in some ways.
That's amazing work that you're doing, and I love how you're explaining it. That story is so important and is a big connection for us. In the Asian community, we stereotypically don't get too involved in community work or politics. We tend to stay insulated. So you as a young woman, Asian woman growing up in the United States, what has been your motivation and what's your why for being so involved in so many areas of the community?
I think a big part of it is that my mom is a refugee. She came to the United States after the fall of Saigon, and her journey here was very harrowing. She was stuck on a boat for some time, so she was one of the boat people, and then she was in Hong Kong for about a year in a refugee camp before she finally made it here. And I think knowing her journey here and her struggle to become the successful woman she is today really inspired me to give back. And also just with the understanding of all of those that came before us and how much work they've put in to create a society that's equitable, it's really important to, when you do have the privilege to get involved, that you do get involved and stand in solidarity with other groups that are also fighting for equality.
That definitely resonates with me because my mom also left her country during that war, right after the war in Korea. And so I think our moms, when they struggle and they leave their country and their homeland and their culture and come to the United States and raise their daughters in a Western culture, when all they know is Eastern culture, it's a little bit of Joy Luck Club. If you haven't seen it, I always encourage people to watch that movie, The Joy Luck Club, because it really it originates in China, right? Chinese moms, and just understanding a little bit better, because it's so close to our hearts, being a refugee or an immigrant to the United States, and struggling not only about the culture and the food, but the language and customs, all of these things. I think for us as first generation Asians in America really have a deep view and appreciation for our moms. So do you have siblings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
I do.
Delay.
Oh, I was yeah, I think the internet in my apartment isn't doing so hot, so thanks for your patience. But I just wanted to really just emphasize again sort of the sacrifices that our parents have had to make to be here. And maybe when they were young, there was not so much opportunity for them to get involved in the same ways. And now that we have this sort of safety and privilege to sort of choose our lives in a ways that our parents haven't, I just think it's important that we stay involved.
So you were about to tell me about your siblings.
Right. So I have several half siblings. I have two younger brothers and two younger sisters and an older sister. But in Colorado, the sibling that I grew up with was my younger half brother, and his name is Rami.
Oh, cool. It's great to come from a big family. I come from a big family too. There's 6 of us. So I'm the youngest of 6. So before I let you go, Joy, I would love to know, what is something that's bringing you joy during this time, or putting a smile on your face during the quarantine?
I think what was something that happened that I think normally might not have happened is I got to catch up with a lot of friends that are across the world, and maybe we haven't talked for a while, but because everyone has so much time indoors, it's much easier to schedule sort of like FaceTime dates and things like that. And so I think that's what's keeping me motivated and happy, is just knowing that my friends across the world are doing well, and everyone's safe, and just being able to catch up.
Well, Joy, I know you are working hard. I get emails from you weekly. Uh, so important what you're doing, and how you are leading all of these Asian organizations in the metro area to do our part to make sure individuals in our community are counted and have a voice and understand the system, because education is so important. And I just appreciate your efforts and the energy, and you're so happy all the time, but you're so smart and organized as well. So thank you for spending your time again today.
Yeah, thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm super impressed that you do these every single day. That's amazing. And always grateful to work with you.
Okay, well, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and thank you. Take care, Joy.
Bye. Thank you.